tons of them climb these peaks all the time, every year, multiple of them.
How many, like, think of the Sherpa, right? That works at base camp or whatever for Mount Everest. How many times is he going up the tallest mountain in here? Just one Sherpa.
Right. So, there's credit where credit needs to be due. And I think this documentary does a good.
We can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility? Ready? No.
Clink.
Clink. Click, clack, clickety, clack, click, 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 clack, clack, click.
And now, your nature podcast, Wandering Ways.
Yeah.
Maybe like an owl
opening like that. I'm like,
bumblebee wings.
Yeah, something like
that. And then galloping of like a herd of wildebeest out in the African savannah.
Yeah, that would be, maybe we should just totally lean into the like radio side of things.
Yeah, and then you, right, it comes in like, and now the Reverend.
Yeah, and then we just open up with like,
hey, how's it going?
What's up?
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah. No, that would be, I don't know. Maybe we try it out. The new year is upon us. Maybe we just do it for the month of January in 2022. We do like a typical New Year's resolution that only lasts a month.
Right.
So
I love it. No, it's fun. It's all in good fun. You guys know, you listen in. Let us know at wanderingwayspodcast@gmail.com. WANDERINGWAYSPODCAST@gmail.com. And you can let us know what you think, or if you have an idea, maybe you made one for us because you're that great.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. New year is upon us, so you probably all just got done doing your Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, or whatever holiday that you do celebrate. You're probably getting pretty close to wrapping that up, as New Year's has already come and gone. Now that
I believe this is the 5th, right? When this episode comes out, we're all at work. We're all like, man, Christmas break could have been one more week longer. Just because it could have.
That's true. I've probably already been back in the busy world of things.
Well, especially out west, right? Like there was a lot of places that got some snow this weekend, we're recording this on the 27th, so right before the New Year's holiday, and there's a lot of snow in Oregon, Montana, Idaho, Washington.
I think the whole state of Oregon had snow at one point.
No,
on the 26th in the morning.
No, when I was driving home, the line, like as you leave the Dalles, and how you slowly start to come up out of the gorge.
Yeah,
that was the line.
Oh, no snow there.
It went west. Normally you think snow east. No, it was all in the west. I was like, what? That's where I was going 80-90 because I could finally.
Well, I was thinking it was snow everywhere because the coast got snow. And when the coast gets anything, it's real.
It's real.
So, yeah.
How much snow did you guys get out there?
In Seaside, there was, probably 3-4 inches.
Oh, that's nice. But the thing about your guys' snow is it's a lot wetter.
Yeah,
so it stacks up quick. It also melts quicker.
It does,
but it's not like this fluffy stuff because where it's like it takes a little bit longer to get taller. But that wet shit, I remember in Corvallis when we were down there and how it affected us. It got bad.
Yeah, this snow's I think on par with that level of snow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I'm here in Ashland now, and there's a good amount of snow on the roads.
Yeah, but it was like a couple feet that came down in like a day in Corvallis somewhere down there. That was what was crazy.
Yeah, I think there's parts of Oregon that were supposed to get that much. So
Heck, Corvallis might have been one of those just because of its location.
Yeah, I could have. I don't know.
No, I love the snow. I mean, I hate it. I love it. I think I was the only one that woke up in Oregon and was like, "Oh, this sucks."
I don't know. I woke up and said, "Oh, this sucks. I don't like snow."
Right?
Um, I was driving because I drove all day yesterday. Well, most of it, because the nice thing about the coast, at least with a lot of the coast, seaside, the snow stayed, I think, all day. But like basically Lincoln City South on the coast, the snow was melted by the time I
Oh,
hit it. But I had to come across one of the passes, and then you start getting into the snow more. And when it's like snow, one, you have to drive a little bit slower, because you can't rely on those brake slams that you use to, otherwise you'll go spinning. Two, you got people that drive two vastly different speeds on the road. You got the speedsters and the people that go slow as shit. And managing those is a whole challenge in itself. But
why do you
what
think?
really annoyed me was when the snow was falling itself. Okay. And it would hit my windshield. And I'd be like, all right, my windshield's all wet. So I need to use my windshield wiper because I can't see because it spreads out. But it's not enough moisture for the windshield wiper to work smooth.
Oh,
So it's like, and I'm like, this is annoying as shit. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll just let it stay a little bit longer to get enough moisture. Well, because it spreads out, you can't see shit. So I'm
yeah.
like, well, I gotta go, and I have to listen to the whole damn time. And I was just like, this is the dumbest thing. Like, people like this?
Yeah, not driving it. No, I'm one of those speedsters. I was going about 70, like average speed the way home on it because like I said, you can drive on the snow. It's the ice that gets sketchy.
Yeah.
And it's funny in the state of Montana, everyone gets over to that right lane on the interstate because I got to throw my hazards on. There's snow coming down. I get it. You're in a little Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic or something like that. It can't handle the snow. And I don't know why on December 26, 2021, you decided to drive it. But I'm in my Jeep that I have reinforced for the snow. I will run you off the road. I'm sorry. If you're gonna create issues about my safety for me while I'm driving, well, I've given you ample time to pass the car in front of you or get over to the right lane of the road, where in the state of Montana, it's a rule that's, slower traffic in the right lane. Let the passing traffic go in the left lane. I will run you off the road. So
Yeah. Yeah, if the roads actually weren't too bad here. Actually, by the time I hit I-5, the road was like clear, basically. It was like pavement. So
the worst, it was really bad leaving my parents' house to Highway 99. Like when you go to Matt's house out that way,
yeah.
because it was really coming down. And like you were saying, it was those thick pieces of snow that hit your window and
Yeah.
they just spread everywhere. I mean, my wipers were fine, but there was a point where you're just sitting there and your lights are hitting them, and you hit like my high beams, it looks like Star Wars, or you're just light speed.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. That messes with your eyes because that's coming at you, right? But you still have to pick up what's in front of it. So like visually, the human brain has a hard time with all that forward motion at us while also picking up the distance.
Now make it 6:30 in the morning. It's dark out, and there's cars in the other lane with their brights, and then you have to dodge a deer that somehow ends up in the middle of the road, and you're like, how the fuck did I not see you?
Yeah,
That was me on the way out.
It's a whole thing.
But it's fun. I'm here, we're recording a podcast, so either I didn't run someone off the road or I didn't get run off the road. There's a couple times, man.
Snow falls, it moves on, Yeah, I
does.
don't like it. I prefer the rain, but it does make it pretty. The park I live to, super pretty right now.
No, I look outside, it's white. I'm gonna have to drive to Wolf Point today, where the high is -1 or whatever, and it's gonna suck. And I'm gonna well, at least the roads going east are a lot better.
Yeah.
They've been paved. They didn't get a lot of snow over there. Hopefully, but I thought about taking my Honda Civic, but I should take the Rougarou for the Rougarou fans. So
Although you just mentioned you made it for the snow, so if there's snow, you should probably take it, right?
no, yeah, it well, and it's the weight, right? Yeah, it helps hold you down to the ground. Um, a lot of people, like you say, like to use their brakes. You said that. And I saw that a lot yesterday. And that's what happened when you use your brakes, you start to slide on the ice. If you let the car do what the car was designed to do, it'll slow down if you take your foot off the gas. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there that go gas, brake, gas, brake. You can go gas off to the right. There's no pedal over there. You can just let your foot dangle and the car will slow itself down.
Yeah, the one part of my drive yesterday that had a lot of like ice on it. Um, I there was like this cluster of people that was I don't know what they were doing, so I just took this pull out and I waited for them to clear because I was like, this is going to be a shit show. So I'm gonna just let it kind of go until I have because someone was like trying to come across to go back down because they didn't have the proper car to go up, and then there were people coming down, but there was this one guy in a truck and he just comes barreling by in like maybe like 70 yards in front of him. There's two cars going very slow. One's got the hazard lights on, and you're like, start slowing down, or you're going to slide. And sure enough, he totally fishtailed like into the other lane and shit. Yeah. And you're just like, call me Nostradamus or something, but
I didn't have any of that on the way home. I think the worst I've ever fishtailed. Well, no, there's two times I've fishtailed driving real bad into the other lane where you're like, well, this is it. There's once when with you guys coming back from the Black Hills in
they had
Montana.
the
There.
emergency brake on.
I know we were trying to pass a semi truck because that's the shitty thing. He's got 18 wheels kicking up that dusty stuff plus the snow, and you can't see, but you get around that truck, you're like, holy shit, I can see now. And then there was a time when was it? We were going down to Lake Havasu and we're by Big Sky. We're going from Bozeman to Big Sky. We're in that canyon there. Same thing. Trying to pass this old lady going fucking 25, and you're like, you shouldn't be driving because you're not only creating a risk for all the other drivers, but yourself because you're going too slow. Some idiot like that truck is going to slam into the back of you, and you're in a little small car. You're going to be in that ditch, probably dead because you're driving slower. You should have stayed home. And that's the scary thing with the snow. But yeah, we put it in the other lane, and there was another car coming, and I was like, oh, this is it. But we got back.
That's what I thought was going to happen to that truck, because there was a car coming up, and I was like, well, shit, one of two things is going to happen, or three things, because the third happened. But one, like, that car is going to hit the truck, or two, that car is going to start to slam the brakes and fishtail into the other lane and get hit by a different car, or three, well, the one that happened is nothing. The guy just fishtailed and got back in the lane.
No, yeah, that's sometimes how it happens. God, dude, there was a few of those yesterday where it's like you are going 70 miles an hour and you hit that little bit of, but the car doesn't it catches itself within a half a second or whatever, within that, you don't really slide, but you feel that you slid a little bit there. Oh, those are scary.
It's like when you hit a big puddle in the rain.
Hydroplane kind of a little bit, just like that, where it's just like it pulls you, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why slush sucks too, because slush will pull you. When you switch and it's like in the middle, it will straight up pull you to a side.
Well, and that's the issue with that lane, right? People like to get over and pass in that, and I'm like, I'll stay in the snow because you have traction in the snow. when you're going through that slush into that like lane where cars are driving and that slush is just getting pushed over and turning into ice in that lane.
Yeah. That's where you get pulled one way or the other.
But to be fair, all the bad drivers yesterday had Washington, Oregon, Texas license plates. North Dakota, I saw a few, which I was like, what the fuck? Like, you guys should know. But it was when they were going through the mountains, like in Idaho. I was like, oh, it makes sense. You don't have those. But
yeah. Speaking of snow, ice, and mountains, that brings us to the topic of today. We're going to get every now and then we find a documentary that really kind of tickles us. And I think the last one that really tickled us was that Sasquatch one about all the pot farms and them blaming murder on my boy Big.
oh, why did it tickle us, huh?
I don't probably because it was Bigfoot.
It was, and we like to do Bigfoot for you guys. And you know, we tried to find him. I looked in Oregon, I saw a nice little den of some sort. Could have been just a hole in the rocks, but it wasn't. I thought it could have been a Bigfoot cave, wasn't.
No, well, it's because like my new shirt, you know, he's the social distancing world champion. So,
well, so I was having actually a conversation with Cody, Ray's brother. Ray, we interviewed here about firefighting. About Bigfoot because he believes, and we were having a conversation, and I said, you live down in Mescalero, you guys had bears down there. He goes, all kinds of bears. I said, how many of those did you see in the wild? One or two. Okay, how many mountain lions? I know they have mountain lions there. How many? Never seen one. Okay,
yeah,
and I think there's less Bigfoots than mountain lions, so let's stay with that.
But we do find documentaries that tickle us, and this one sure did. If you have the Netflix, maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. If you listen to podcasts, you probably have seen it. It's called 14 Peaks, and it is about Nepalese, I think that's what they're called, Nepalese climbers doing the 14 highest peaks in the world, which are all located in the Himalayas, if you didn't know, at a world record pace.
Are they? I thought he went somewhere. Oh, he did them in different sections. He breaks them up.
They're all the Himalayas.
I didn't realize that was the whole stretch, but now thinking about it makes sense because like it would be like doing it here in America, like, oh, we did the like Canadian bit, we did the US bit, now we're doing the Mexico bit. I guess, of the Rockies. Yeah.
That's pretty much how it
For some reason I was thinking he went up to fucking like Norway or something for one or two of them, but I guess that
no, they're all in
the
largest, like biggest mountain range in the world, the Himalayas. They're pretty impressive.
Well, Mount Everest is in them.
Yeah, well, he climbs that one.
I know, he climbs them all
14 of the highest peaks, and he does it at world record pace. Before this, like the first guy to ever do it did it in like what, 6 years?
No, the first guy to like set the record was it was 7 years or something.
Yeah, the very first guy who they have in the documentary.
But I want to say there was someone else who does it in like 40-35 years first, and then the guy who breaks the world record or sets the world record at like 7 years, and then this guy.
Oh, I thought it was just the 6 years was like.
I mean, that's the record.
Yeah,
I thought
the record is like 7 months now.
See, this is a problem when we watch it and then decide let's do some other episodes in between.
Yeah.
No, I want to say they talk about like the first person to climb all 14 probably took them like 35 years.
They interviewed that guy in the documentary. They have him talk to him. They talked to him quite a few times. Old guy in it.
And then the guy,
which
that
then
was like
really
a British
cool
guy,
to
right?
have, actually, because in my experience with mountain climbers, they're always very I don't know, arrogant, or like any adventurer, really. they'll hear about someone doing some expedition and they'll be like, oh, he did it that way. That's not like the true way to do it and all that kind of. And this guy that they had, the guy that first did it, he's like, yeah, no, they did it their way, their own way, how they did it.
Well, because they used oxygen, and
Yeah, that was the big thing. Is like
that was
so
another
they
thing.
used
But it's
oxygen for it.
like that's the norm of climbing now. So sorry.
Yeah, part of me is like, I get it. You want to go up there and say you're a badass. You went to these peaks without oxygen, but I don't know about you, but pretty big fan of oxygen. Um,
Well, you said badass. I thought you said dumbass.
oh, well, badass, you know.
I was saying dumbass because you're going up fucking 14 of the tallest mountains in the world without oxygen. It's
I
thin
know,
up there.
go for it if you want to.
I'm good. I would take the tank personally.
Yeah, I mean, I would too. I'm not trying to prove anything, you know. The thing I'm trying to prove is I can get to the top of one of the 14 highest peaks in the world. That's what I'm there to prove. I'm not there to prove that I can do it while holding my breath.
See, I think that's the other thing for you. I know you love climbing mountains, but like these tall ones require snow and ice stuff. And that's just sometimes not fun.
When I did St. Helens, I had to have crampons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
had to.
yeah, had to because like the last half mile was all snow and ice, and
No,
it's slower, but it's actually quite fun.
oh, I'm not saying that it's not fun. I that's just a whole nother layer of issue. I think we don't realize that, right? Like we take that hike in Hawaii, to me that's we went 3,000, 2,000 something feet elevation gain on this hike. So you're getting altitude as you go up. And to me, doing that hike with you and just the different terrain we encountered on that hike, there's a lot of parts where it's flat, and all of a sudden it's going up and down at points. Then you hit some switchbacks. Then you hit like those points where it's like, here's some rope and you hold on and you hope you hold on and get up this little gulch or whatever. And I mean, it's fun, but like when you think about these 14 mountains that this guy does, these tallest mountains in the world, the entire world, and the fact that they do them in like some like the ladder. Did you see the ladder in the episode they climb across? And it's like just one of those little metal, like looks like a Harbor Freight ladder to me. They throw it down and kind of looks aluminum and fragile, and you're just like, fuck, like it's not secure. Like you haven't in all this years of climbing Everest, you haven't decided to put like a permanent bridge in.
Well, they have to take it down every year.
Yeah.
They have to take it down every year. So that's why they don't have like anything permanent. And they have to, when you're doing Everest, you cross a bunch of crevasses. So, that's why like, the Sherpas, they climb it all the time. And they go and set the trail for the season, essentially.
Oh. Well, that's what makes, I mean, the Sherpas and the Nepalese people really, I think, the amazing people that they are is the fact that they do that. They don't get as enough credit as they need. Because I'm guarantee you look at probably half of and that's a big number, half of the people that climb Mount Everest, I would say they probably have to thank their Sherpa for that.
Oh, got to.
Because of how crazy that mountain is.
Got
and it's crazy for multiple reasons. The overcrowdedness. I didn't realize, and I saw the news when Everest was overcrowded, when he posts the picture a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. Because that's the big thing. So we haven't really like explained what it is.
Go ahead. Go explain and then we'll get into it. Sorry, we're excited.
Yeah. So what the documentary is about is, I'm going to butcher this guy's name big time. But he's a Nepalese guy, and he wants to do the 14 highest peaks in the world at record pace. I'm going to try his name. I apologize. I'm not going to get it right. It's Nimsdaya Purha.
And they call him Nims the whole time.
Yeah, Nims. They call him Nims. His name is, whatever. But Nims, he wants to climb the 14 highest peaks. First, he realizes he's pretty good at climbing mountains. And so he goes and he gets a team of all Nepalese people to climb the 14 highest peaks. And their goal is to do it in 7 months, which would be world record pace by a lot at this time.
Like 6 years.
No, I think that was, I'm pretty confident 6 years was the first, and then like the next was like 3 years or something. It was like, I know that the record before these guys broke it was multiple years. That's all and it was like a few.
I know these guys were doing something unique by doing it all in one season, because even they talk about like some of these mountains, like Everest. There's a season to climb Everest. K2, there's a season because it's harsh and you'll die if you don't do it right.
Yeah, well, there are winter seasons, but for the most part, there's this ideal climbing season, and that's when they're going to do it. Is they're going to climb it in this. And there's a lot to it, like Everest. When you climb Everest, the days that you can climb to the summit, that's really only like, I think it's like a week of the year.
True. I think it's like 2-week window. Yeah,
where you can get up to the actual summit. So these guys decide to do it in the whole like climbing spring summer climbing season. And they run into a lot of different challenges, from permit getting to one, they have to get to each of these different peaks or places with all the peaks, because they're all relatively spread out, because again, Himalayas, very, very large mountain range that covers a lot of ground. And so there's the logistics of it, and all of that. So
it's really, I told Jared to watch this for that reason. What you're saying, what the kind of the line you're going now is like, there's a lot to this show that is going on, and you're doing a really good job explaining it. And just like the process that these guys go through, the fact that his, like, not only that, but he's living like a normal life. His mom is going through some conditions during this whole thing. Yeah. So he's dealing with like, hey, there's a lot of people out there counting on me for this. And which is funny, and I love it. And you can see the tie from the Nepalese people to the native culture, but just even the fact that like his family's like, what do you think you're going to do? Go climb mountains? Like, come take care of your mother like you're supposed to. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
No, he's a great dude. And the fact that his training, they go into his training, and he was what do they call the British?
Yeah, he was like a special forces.
For the British Army.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good. Yeah. And that's where his training, I think he realized I can do this stuff.
Well, yeah, I think that built the base, because then he started, when he got out, he started like climbing mountains, like actually. And he realized that he's pretty dang good at it. So he is like, and then he saw this idea, and he's like, let's do it. And so basically he put this team together, and they're like, let's go.
Well, and I like the team, right? And I like how he explains it with his friends and these people, because he said, for each mountain, we got kind of a different team. There's a core group, obviously, but there's some different guys that are probably doing each one with them. And just listening to them and the way they talk and the way he wants to do it for his people, like almost to the point where he's like, I don't care if you remember my name. I care that you remember I was a Nepalese man first. Yeah. I wasn't Sir Edmund Hillary. I am this guy. I am the best. I will be the best. And just that attitude and the humility behind it as well, of like, I'm the best, but I'm not going to tell you I'm the best. I'm not Tom Brady. I'm not going to say I'm the GOAT, even though I am. And I'm loving hiking mountains.
Yeah. He approached it very well, I thought, because he did it for his people, because they have been climbers. They're, historically they're climbing people because of where they're located. So it was nice because it gave credit where credit was due. You don't hear about any Nepalese mountain climbers or adventurers that are famous, and tons of them climb these peaks all the time, every year, multiple of them.
How many like think of the Sherpa, right? That works at base camp or whatever for Mount Everest. How many times is he going up the tallest mountain in here? Just one Sherpa.
Right. So, there's credit where credit needs to be due. And I think this documentary does a good job at giving them their moment that they deserve.
No, and I think it's good that we're talking about it too, to help with that moment, because I don't think our media, if it was a white man, they would have covered this a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it wasn't, it's not being covered it wasn't covered as heavily nationally.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And I think we need to give Nims his moment.
Yeah,
he deserves it.
Yeah, 100%. He does deserve it, which, hopefully we're doing a good job at giving it.
I hope.
Hopefully I'm not butchering it too much.
No, it was, I really liked it because, like you said, he starts out and he figures out, we're going to do these mountains. He does it. For the first few, they're rolling. They're putting these things down under their belt, like one mountain, two mountain, let's go.
Yeah, they're moving at the beginning. And what's funny is, they lose so much time there too, because they end up saving lives. So yeah. They talk about altitude sickness that you can get that really affects the lungs. You build that mucus kind of layer up, and finding that guy that was, he talks about it being a Yeti or whatnot, but they end up saving lives while doing this whole expedition, which is like crazy. He's like, all right, we got to do this quick. I got to go up, but this person's dying. All right, we'll take them down, then go up type deal, which is, that's huge and very admirable of them to do that.
Well, they say that right on Everest, don't help the people, because they're gonna, if you help them, you're gonna die too.
Yeah. Well,
just because the energy you're exerting.
Yeah, when he did that and went to Everest, and he takes that photo that went viral, that and everyone talks about how crowded Everest is. That really showed like what Everest has become now, which is sad. Everyone just wants to do it, and it's become easier to get to the summit of Mount Everest because of these Sherpas, and because it's
I'm sure there's some sort of like packed down trail underneath the snow on the dirt that's even starting to form from the thousands of people that climb this place.
Yeah, there's probably something. And what sucks is, Everest is such a delicate, it's the tallest graveyard, or not graveyard, what is it? Junkyard in the world, the highest junkyard, because everyone takes those oxygen tanks up, but they don't bring them down. And you can't take a helicopter up that high to then pack them all down. So people have to literally pack it down if they want to clean it up. And that there is very dangerous in itself. So,
and to be fair, like those other cultures, it's okay to do that in some cultures where it's like, that's just throw it off the side of the mountain.
I don't think it is okay though in this case.
Really?
Yeah.
It's become a thing.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying? Okay.
Because people don't have the energy to carry it down. They bring it all up, and they're like, I don't want to carry this empty tank down, so I'm going to just leave it.
Yeah, I guess.
And also you find new bodies every year. Yeah. So, the new body thaws. sometimes bodies from way, way, way long ago they find, which those are always cool.
The snowdrift kind of stuff. Just how like
Somebody gets stuck in the snow from something, and then like years later,
the
that
wind opens up.
particular spot thawed more than usual, and you see like a skeleton type deal.
No, I don't think you see. I think they freeze. Like it's like a.
I think it's like a mixture of
Yeah,
skeleton to flesh,
the decomposition kind of,
which would be a yummy sight for sure.
For a Yeti.
Yeah, that's who cleans up and that's who eats it. That's who's doing all the hard work up there is Bigfoot's cousin Yeti. But before we go too much farther into the documentary and how it finishes and then closing thoughts on it, I want to show some cool shit in nature because we're talking about cool people doing cool stuff in nature. So I guess it's time to show some cool shit in nature.
Well, and this is definitely, as you're getting that loaded up, a documentary for the wanderers to like I say, you get off this podcast today, flip it on Netflix and just throw it on in the background because this is just wonderful. Wow. Is this just a photo?
Yeah, I got two today. I got a photo of a snow leopard. I thought it fit. These do reside in the Himalayan mountains. So I thought, and this is my favorite big cat. So it's like, duh. But the snow leopard, the ghost cat, this is a picture of it. It's a very nice picture of it.
I think it's in a zoo.
The rocks behind are kind of questionable.
Yeah, that's what's doing it in the water. Like
I think that's ice.
Well, like frozen something.
Yeah, I think
it's snow behind him. But it's
the rocks in the back are kind of questionable.
Yeah, beautiful snow leopard, beautiful kitty.
Yeah, very, very beautiful. But the other real cool shit in nature is this video that is super cool. It's a video of a volcano eruption, and the video is like taken from space.
But I love the like circle of the normal clouds that the volcano has created
around it.
Yeah,
it's really cool to kind of see because it's just it's like almost like the classic mushroom cloud kind of that you see all the time for atomic bombs.
Well, I think it is because look at the ring kind of if you look at the smoke, right? The like volcanic ash, there's that white cloud on top there, kind of looks like it's on top like a cap.
Yeah.
The ring, there's like a thicker band of smoke or whatever around it, almost like a circle, like it is a ring like that going up into the air.
Mm-hmm. This is a really cool video though, because it's an angle that you don't see often for volcano eruptions. So
no, you don't, and it's a unique perspective for sure.
Yeah, which is why it makes it some cool shit in nature.
Your last cool shit, the bubble freezing. Did you get the one I sent you of like?
I tried pulling it up to show. That one is a cool shit in nature. I just it's hard to get Instagram videos onto.
I assumed
onto the podcast here, but it was more bubbles freezing. And what was cool about the one you sent is it had the snowflakes in it, and it like spun for a while, which was cool to like see. So
it was neat.
It was definitely cool shit in nature. So maybe we'll make an appearance. I don't know.
You'll figure out how to do Instagram on Zoom.
I know how. It's just
it's a process.
Yeah, and when I don't have time to prep, as much time to prep, it's hard. I cop out and go with the easy ones to do.
I don't blame you.
Thank you, Wanderers, for checking us out. Make sure that you are hitting that like button, that subscribe button, leaving us a review on the iTunes, on the Spotify's, or wherever that you are checking out this podcast today. We really appreciate it. Any kind of feedback, we love it. Make sure to check out the YouTube so you can see our beautiful faces instead of just listening to those beautiful voices. But hit the like and subscribe button there, too, to see all of the fun Wandering Ways stuff.
Yeah, on the YouTube too. Make sure to check out those videos like Mark's amazing 30-day road trip where he lived out of the back of a Jeep. And if you want to commemorate it, go ahead and pick yourself up that Wandering Ways swag. In the Linktree bio, click the swag button. If you're just on YouTube or Google or some sort of thing, go teespring.com/wanderingways. You'll find us. You'll find socks. You'll find shirts. You'll find whatever you want to put our logo on, and you can have it for sure.
And maybe you only like one of the Wandering Ways team members here, and you want to check out maybe just me personally, because obviously I might be the better one. Check me out, Reverend Marcus, on the Instagram, on the Twitter. I got some fun stuff there.
Hey, and you might be into Jeeps. You could check out my Jeep, the Rougarou. You might be into adventures. Check out Zach of Wandering Ways. Who knows? You can find it all with us at Wandering Ways, the nature podcast.
Yeah, let's keep wandering on. But
I see you moved. You're getting ready to move. Your books are off your shelf behind you, so I get it. You got other things at hand.
yeah, depending on how many we can record here soon, this may be the last one in this place.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll have a new studio or whatever set up here, hopefully within the next week or two.
That would be cool.
It would be very cool. Hopefully it works out for me. Well, I mean, I'm moving for sure. So, this place here in Ashland is no moss. I'm still going to be in the Ashland area, but not in Ashland anymore. Going back though to 14 Peaks, the documentary, there's another really cool part in it that I appreciated, and it was when they got to K2, which, if anybody's not familiar with K2, K2 is the deadliest mountain. It has the most deaths associated with all of all the mountains.
I think it's the technical climb. It's the hardest to climb in the world.
Yes.
Technically. And we've talked about this before. I read a book in like 7th grade called 3 Cups of Tea about a mountain climber who he tries to climb it, and he actually ends up going down into like a village down there and building schools.
Yeah. So K2, that's the big one. And there was the group that was already like there trying to climb K2, and they weren't making it. And essentially when NIMS got there, everyone was like, it's not gonna work, you're not gonna be able to do it. And he basically was like, no, we're gonna give it a shot, let's get this going, like this is how we're gonna do it. And he approached it, it's that classic, like it just can't be done this season, or it just can't be done. And this guy comes in and says, no, we're going to do it. And sure enough, they did. And they bring the people that like climbed it with them, that were just doing K2, and like the joy and satisfaction they got because they got up there and they were so thankful that,
Did anyone stay behind? I want to say I thought one of the dudes stayed behind.
I think so.
Like the chick went up with them, and she was super, because what happened is they showed up to they showed up at night, they're all sitting there, they run into camp, they meet these people, they're talking to them, so they get drunk, they have a little party, and then they game plan. And I think that's what you do too, though, right? Like that's something, when we're on our hikes, one foot in front of the other, just one step at a time. That's all you can do when you're in any situation, one moment at a time. And that's kind of how he takes this, is like, I know we can do it. The weather, we're going to have a window. We're going to use that window, and we're just going to roll with it. And I think the problem the group before that they run into is they're really playing, it has to be perfect conditions for us to go up. And if it's not perfect, it's a bad time to go up. And I think when you approach just anything in life with that attitude, you can find yourself into trouble, where it's like, I'm not like, you're finding yourself opting out a lot more because you're like, no, perfect conditions aren't there, gotta go. you're never going to get perfect conditions.
Yeah,
Anything.
searching for perfect conditions is, that will set you up for failure looking for perfect. But, K2 is a very unique mountain. I've talked about it before, very, very little bit on the podcast, but, there's a guy I follow on Instagram, Colin O'Brady.
Oh, yeah.
He tried climbing it in the winter season K2. And so they start climbing the mountain, him and this.
Before you get into it, why would you do it in winter versus like the summer?
To prove that you can do it in a harsh.
Oh, okay. So this is like, okay.
People do it,
Okay. All right. I was just curious. I didn't know if it
would not have been the first person to do it.
I just didn't know if it was like, oh, it's a different route in the snow or, something like that where.
No.
This is just like, I'm better than you kind of.
I'm a really good mountaineer.
Okay. Thank you.
But so he goes and he's going up with this group, this guy that he went to go do it with, and then there was like 6 others. They were climbing and they're at one of the camps. And when he's at the camp, he actually gets this weird feeling and he goes back down to base camp and he calls it. He ends up not even climbing K2.
Oh.
The other 6 people are like, all right, we're going to keep going. All 6 of those did not make it off the mountain. Yeah. So, K2 it's a winter season, so the weather's harsher and all that. You have like these very tiny windows that you can do it. But that's 6 more body count for the mountain. So, K2 is, it's legit. They talk about the ice shelf that essentially if it falls, like just even a crack of it, it's going right down ideal climb route.
Don't they have a lot of avalanches too?
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah. Wow. No, it's crazy. They actually don't they experience an avalanche on one of the hikes where it doesn't necessarily go where they're hiking, that you just see it. Like
I can't remember.
I want to say it's down one of the valley, like not their valley, but you see an avalanche. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, we've had avalanches on cool shit in nature.
I could be thinking that, but I want to say they're hiking up above and you see that you could see the snow kind of moving.
Oh, well, maybe.
Hey guys, let us know.
But
email us.
Yeah, so that's the K2 part. And then the other real fascinating part of the documentary is when they get to the Chinese portion of it. Because they had permits and then they were denied the permits, and they had to reorganize how they were going to climb all of these mountains to hopefully be just able to legally go and climb one of the.
Yeah. Well, and that's actually something, and I think that's an episode we want to talk about down the road, is about permits and just getting into the permits. And like just the way like even the Chinese government is, and like I want to say, didn't they show up and realize their permits were revoked because the Chinese government told them they couldn't go up?
I don't remember how.
It was kind of weird.
They lost them, but I know that they had them and then they did not have them.
Like this, they closed the mountain or something.
Yeah, they closed the mountain early.
Yeah,
it's kind of odd, but
interesting.
Yeah.
But that's something, with all trips that, we don't think about sometimes, the different governments involved, especially with something like this, right? Like, cause he's going in, Pakistan, Nepal, China, these various different countries that, they're going to have different laws and regulations on how to climb. And even, which is interesting, some of these mountains, since they are the border, you can climb up on different sides of the country and people will do that. For those various reasons. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. And like you said, this Chinese one, and just how like, what I like is he didn't use it as like, oh, we're done. He used it as, okay, let's finish the rest and we will come back to this one. We will make this one happen. And I really like that because how he just uses social media.
Yeah. I mean, he got huge social media support to, essentially, strong arm the Chinese government to say, all right, fine, go.
It
Type of
only makes them look like good, and like the only thing is that you hold them up, you look bad.
yeah.
You don't, you're whatever.
Yeah, it would have been a very big bummer if they were not able to climb that peak.
No,
Because it would have been like it's not their fault type deal.
no.
Which that would have been that's what would have made it a huge bummer is like we could have done it. We very well could have, but we weren't allowed to. And but they did it. They were able to get up and climb the peak, and they ended up accomplishing their goal of doing it in the 7 months, actually under. I think it was closer to 6 months in the end.
Well, and they flew his mom up there, so like when he literally got down the mountain, they were there.
Yep.
It was just such a beautiful way to cap it off. I think, just like this was something hard. He accomplished it. He did it. He did it for his people. He did it for his mom. He did it, even listening to his brothers and his family through the whole thing, kind of like, dude, you're just a crazy man climbing mountains. But then at the end to see like, wow, to see you accomplish this goal and to do it and do what you did and do it for the people and just gain this momentum and traction in the mountain climbing community. That's just, I mean, it's great. It's so good, happy to see, a native Nepalese man do that.
Yeah, I was really stoked for the fact that it was the Nepalese or people from that area that did it, and two, they set out this goal. They had a lot of doubters, and they proved them all wrong. And they did it in a good way as well. It wasn't like the arrogance of like, no, I'm going to do it type deal. It was like, yeah, we're going to do it. Shoot, we got to save some people's lives here. We're not allowed to climb this mountain here. Oh, we got people that say we're not, like, this mountain's just not climbable this season. He's like,
come with us, like that's my favorite part. Like, oh, just join us then.
Yeah, he's like, we've got it. Like, no worries. Like, we're gonna get done. If we can't, we can't. But we're gonna at least give it a real good effort because I think we can.
Well, you can tell for sure. He's definitely at peace with like his decisions of these mountains, and
Yeah.
and I think that's one thing climbers, and I'm not a climber by any means. I'm more, I'm just an adventurer. I'm a wanderer, and part of that to me is like, I know, when we're in glacier backcountry, there are those possibilities. A bear could come out into camp and get us. That's let it be. So be it. I made the decision. There's less of a chance, but he definitely, especially with that getting altitude sickness on this trip, and seeing the Yeti and kind of just his visions and how he explains it, it's just very interesting, because it shows like like to do something like that, have an encounter like that, and be like, okay, yeah, I'll go climb the other 8 that I still need to go climb. Like you're at peace with knowing that one slip, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I guess that's hard for me to do. That's why I don't want to go try and train and climb an Everest, because there is, even if I'm a healthy mountain climber, there is that chance, because just like driving, there's some of those dumb hikers out there.
100%. But anyways, we highly encourage, or at least I do, highly encourage you to go check it out. It's on Netflix. It's called 14 Peaks. It's super good documentary. I think you'll enjoy it. If you like the podcast, I'm more than willing to bet you'll enjoy the documentary. But yeah, make sure you go check it out. 14 Peaks on Netflix, streaming now. But with that being said, we are going to move on. I'm going to be the guy and say it's time for our final words.
My final word, just like Nims, find that thing that brings you peace, comfort, and challenge, because that's what these things are. They're challenging, but they also bring that peaceful comfortableness to him. For me, I would say, it's just adventuring. It really is. It's going and seeing new places. Yeah, I don't have to climb to the top of the mountain. I'd like to go see the mountain. I want to go see the mountain, and experience things. Like I talk about, me and Jared, we went down to Nye and down into the crazy wind just a couple weeks ago, and it gets crazy, but the energies, being around those energies, I think are good for me. It's dangerous to go out in 75-mile-an-hour wind. You can get a tree branch blown off and slap you across the face, and that's no bueno. But definitely find those things that challenge you, but also make you feel at home, because that's going to make you a better person in the end. And that's that's why I think this is such a good documentary, because it's not like, look at me, I broke a world record. Yeah. I climbed these 14 mountains. It's like, no, here's what I did and how I did it. So you can learn from me, and I too can learn from me.
Mm-hmm. No, that's 100%. Reverend's final words of wisdom. Stay beautiful, everybody. I can't tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you for listening, sticking around, all that. Find your peak, everybody. Find your peak. It could be a literal peak, or it could be just something else, but go out, find your peak, and climb it. I think we all should have some peaks that we need to climb. It's the new year, so you've probably made some New Year's resolutions. Make that New Year's resolution your peak, and tackle it and own it and dominate it and become a better you. Then, even though you're already beautiful, become more beautiful. But with that being said, peace out, everybody.
Bye.